And with that, I will welcome you and call the meeting to order. However, noting that we are short one for a quorum, which means we cannot vote, but we can go over agenda items and discuss. So, I think it's valuable to do that. We have a few items that we can at least talk about a little bit, I think. And I don't know, somebody from the Friends usually does come, so we can wait for that. They will come in when they, when they get here. I do have one announcement. Do either, any of you have an announcement to make? No? Barbara, do you have any announcements?
No.
Okay.
For announcements?
I have one announcement, and that is that we're gonna change the way we do things as far as guests attending our meetings, and
Sorry, I'm
We have a
late.
quorum.
here we go, we can vote. Thank you, Mary.
I tried to do too much in 1 hour.
Yep.
Well, we're glad you're here, because we didn't have a quorum without you. So you're the VIP here today. To get back to the one announcement I have, it's occurred to me, since I've gone to more selectmen meetings than I used to go to. I don't say I go to them all, but I do get to some more now than I ever did. And I thought we should maybe try doing it the way they do it. And they do not introduce guests at the beginning of the meeting. But what happens is, if a guest wishes to be acknowledged by the chair, they raise their hand. If the chair acknowledges them, they come forward to the microphone so people on TV can hear them, which is very important. And so I'm suggesting that we try this for a while, and we make that change effective today. And we don't have to record if somebody has an issue, a guest wants to be heard, and is acknowledged by the chair, then he would or she would introduce themselves and say they were so-and-so, just as at the selectmen's meeting, you say so-and-so from
Right.
Grist Mill Road. And then Bob would duly record that in the minutes.
Good.
But it seems as though we don't need to have what we've been having in the beginning. We have guests, though, that are on the agenda, like Tina and the Friends, and they automatically would come forward when their agenda time comes up. So,
The only thing I would say to that is just make sure that we understand that people in the audience don't have the opportunity, or don't have I'm gonna say this the wrong way, but I'm saying it, the right to just break into the meeting and say something.
No.
You have to have a time when they can.
They need to be
talk.
recognized by
they
the
need to
chair.
raise their hand and be recognized by the chair. And if certainly know that I don't always spot a hand, so if somebody down there sees somebody who has their hand up and has had it up and I haven't spotted
I can
it,
do this for
you
you.
can just help me out, so I'd appreciate that, so. All right, so let's give it a try for a few weeks and see how it goes, or a few months, to see how it goes.
I think the LCTV people will be much happier if we can get people to the microphone.
Right,
Otherwise, it just makes such a hole in the tape.
yeah, it's unfortunate, and people, if they take the time to watch the meeting, need to be able to hear, obviously, and hear what's going on, so. It doesn't happen if they're sitting over there and not by a microphone, so. Okey doke. Mary, I didn't ask you, but do you have any announcements to make? Any announcements?
I don't do
Any-
communication.
No, I know, no, we're in the very beginning of the
General
agenda.
announcement.
No.
Okay, thank you kindly. All right. Now, a reminder, I should have done this before I made the announcement, but this, I know everyone realizes, is an open meeting, and we adhere to the open meeting law, but always have to get that out there to remind us all. I have one other announcement. Again, I just would like to mention briefly the neighborhood suppers, which seem to be more and more popular. They're getting an amazing turnout. A couple of weeks ago, I think they had close to 70 people there. Wasn't that it, Barbara?
At the what?
The neighborhood supper?
Oh, yes, 74,
70,
I think. that
74
night. Yeah.
people one night.
Oh, my word.
And they had to turn people away. They had used up all the space for tables, and it was really amazing. So that's wonderful, and I would still encourage people to go, because it's a wonderful social opportunity, a night out, you get to eat with your friends, and it's nice. So, I just wanted to mention that again.
And in regards to the noise outside, all those doors are closed. And we can't close our door because we are an open meeting.
Okay.
It's interesting that the neighborhood supper is over capacity. It says something about where people are in terms of their ability to get enough food and so forth and so on, too. It's getting hotter and hotter and more expensive than just to live. And
Wow.
people are finding out that, you know, there's a free meal there, and that's good.
Somebody have their hand up over there that, you do. Oh, sorry, I thought you were motioning me over there. I'm so super
I
sensitive.
wanted to say that maybe part of the reason the neighborhood supper is becoming over is the people who are going to socialize as opposed to people who have food needs. And that
There's a mix.
needs sort of to be balanced so that those who have need really do get their meal.
I think they do. I don't, you know, I know that particular evening, the people that were turned away were not in need of food.
Okay.
But, you know, that could happen.
Yeah.
But you know,
But that is what it's for. The neighborhood supper is there
Oh, I
for
know.
anyone in the community who wants some socialization and so forth. And so we want to be very careful not to discourage people.
no. That's why I'm encouraging people to go, because it is becoming very popular, and get there. Just try to get there on time, you know. It's 5:30 to 6:30, so. And that, generally, they have plenty of food. So.
Well,
And
even
it
that
is,
night- Even that night that they had 74,
they had
still
adequate food. So, and it is a dual purpose. It is for both reasons that they run, that the churches, the Council of Churches does the neighborhood suppers. So,
I wonder, are they the same people that come down to the mail site?
Yeah, there are people
Probably-
that come down to the meal site. There are people who just come because they want to have supper with other people
Socialize,
instead of being at
yeah.
home alone.
Yeah.
There are people who just come because it's convenient.
Yeah,
there's people that,
Interesting,
no
interesting
reason,
mix.
yeah,
it isn't a mix.
yeah.
And there are those who go from free supper to free supper to free supper to free supper, because one of them sat there and explained to me how each night of the week she told me where they were. And
Well, some people do know the routine, yeah. But that's okay.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Okay, I will entertain, since we have enough to vote, I'll entertain a vote to accept the minutes of the March 13th meeting.
I move that we accept the minutes of the March 13th meeting.
Second by Barbara. All those in favor?
All right.
No oppositions, I don't think, and you're good to go, Bob.
Yep.
Thank you again for doing those minutes for us. All right, the Friends are not here at the moment, so we will move along, and if they come, we'll go back to inserting them on the agenda. Okay, old business. Now, Jean Johnson was going to be discussing the senior gift tree, and as I said, she had a little emergency at home. She has to be home for a repairman to come. So I would suggest that we could table this until next month. I don't think it's urgent, so if you're all okay with that. So we'll table that to May. All right. And Pam's on. Update on the MAG, the Multiple Age Group Community Center concept.
So since last time we met, I have been to the FinCom and gave them a presentation on the concept. They seemed very interested. I actually thought, since they were FinCom, that they would perhaps be asking a lot of questions about funding, but they understood that that's not where I'm coming from. And we had a very good discussion about the concept and how it would help to meet the needs that seniors have in town. This evening, I'm on the agenda at the Board of Selectmen at 8:15 to, again, discuss the concept and share with them both our needs and our ideas on the Board of Selectmen are pretty well tuned in because of the work we did with the needs assessment, but I'll do a little bit of a recap of that for those in the audience, and then talk about some of the special needs that if we were able to expand, what it would be great that we could have as for the seniors in town. So, looking forward to doing that.
Any questions for Pam? No? I'm excited about that whole concept. I think it's very exciting to think
I
about.
just have a question for Pam. Is it possible to get more information in terms of what other community centers look like and what they hold and how they handle different groups and so forth?
I've incorporated that into the slideshow, is
Okay, 'cause
information
I-
about other centers. Again, even in just the time since I spoke to FinCom, Groton has on their town meeting to vote for money to buy land for an adult community center. And when you read the description of it, it would be intended to be used during the day by Council on Aging, and then be available in the evening for art classes, Boy Scouts. They don't have a park and rec department like we do, so they don't have quite the community education program that we do. So that's one more town that's added to that.
Susan?
Do any of the towns have a library component to this, Mag?
Townsend
Townsend.
has a community center that includes a senior center and library.
Thank you.
And that was basically what we were talking about here for a community center would be a larger library or a revised library, plus, plus a larger space. We can only fit 100 people down in the multipurpose room. And there are times when we've had to turn people away from dinner, from luncheons that we've had and so forth, and I'm sure other groups have had the same problem. And so there would be an expansion there. It would be a significant expansion of this town hall if it were done here, but it would include a lot of things, including the library.
In all of the towns that I know and the people that I've talked to that have these centers, there is dedicated space for specific departments. Like dedicated space, for us, we need additional dedicated space for Council on Aging for a variety of reasons. We need more office space. If we're gonna expand staff, we have to have some place to put them. We need more room space for holding specialized kinds of activities. And then you've mentioned the idea of an access to a bigger space, which we could certainly share. But also, you could have additional space for the library, so they would have new ADA compliant space. Park and Rec, I'm sure, would like to have additional space. But then you think about departments like the veterans. Right now, sadly, when someone wants to meet with the veterans agent, his waiting room is the hallway. And people have to sit out in the hallway to wait to be seen by him, and that's neither comfortable in some situations or inspiring of confidentiality. And then we have all of the other offices that are in this building that are just squeezed to the max, which is why we have all the noise, because of the slicing and dicing they're doing to create a space for the new assistant town manager. There's just so much room in this building now.
Do you hear that?
For
Are you listening?
for doing what?
Pardon?
What are they doing out here?
They're revamping the room next door, 306, to make a space for the assistant town manager to have a private office space in there.
Who's that?
Anthony. You haven't met Anthony yet?
He was introduced at the spaghetti luncheon, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, he was there last
Bob
week.
wasn't at the spaghetti luncheon.
It's a new position.
Yeah.
How come they got that so easy, Joe?
Selectman.
I'm kidding.
All right, well, I think the whole thing is very exciting. There's so many, pieces to it and so many things that could be done. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Well, it's going to be interesting because at town meeting, we're going to get a feel for whether the town has the appetite to spend a significant amount of money on a building project. Somewhere between $7 and $8 million is what I've heard
Of
the
town
town
money.
would have to put up as their share. If that passes at town meeting, if people are interested in that, then by all means, I think we should talk about the best way to use that energy. It's clear to me that there's not the energy in town to do it twice. So.
Well, it just seems to be the most cost-efficient way to go about meeting the needs of multiple groups of people, so.
But if we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it with the same veracity that the library people have been doing theirs, because they're certainly convincing everybody. I'm sure a lot of people in town think that if they vote at town meeting for the yes, for the possibility of going for the grant, that they think that they're voting for a new town library. I mean, they've really done a neat job, I will admit that. I don't agree with them, but I think they've done a neat job. That's what worries me.
So tonight, 8:15, be there or be on TV.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Moving on, we received a gift from the Sprong Estate, thank you. And we need to decide which funds that money needs to be put into, correct?
Right.
Right. Yes, Susan?
I had ventured forth with that I would like to have seen it go into the veterinary support fund, but I withdraw that. I think that I hadn't realized how much that fund already was. I thought it was just a skimpy little fund. It's quite a well-endowed fund, so I would like to get on board with having it go to transportation.
Transportation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pam, what do you think?
Well, I went back through the files, and I discovered that Virginia was very interested in transportation. At a point in the past, she gave a significant amount of money to the COA to be used towards the purchase of a new van. We did use that when we purchased the blue, what I call the blue van, van number 2. I certainly think that that's something that she intended to support through the Council on Aging. She also gave money to other departments. We're not the only department that received money, and I would think that she would want us to spend it in support of our mission.
What do you mean by transportation?
Well, we have a transportation fund set up right now, which anyone can send me a check for the transportation fund. And that money is used to pay driver salaries, because we spend more each year than we get back from MART for driver salaries. It's also our responsibility to pay for all the maintenance on our second vehicle. MART only pays to maintain the first vehicle. So there are maintenance fees to be paid, repairs to be made, just general things that need to be done to keep those going. And I would like to have enough money in that fund to not have to ever think about cutting back on transportation services in June. When we get to the director's report, you'll see that we're still running very steadily, just under 500 rides a month. The vans are out there, 2 vans every day, 5 days a week. We're putting a lot of hours on that second vehicle. I can hardly wait till we get our new vehicle. But when we get our new vehicle, again, we are going to be responsible for all the maintenance on that.
What does the Cooper fund go into?
So the Cooper Fund comes to us as a designated, as opposed to a check that comes with no designation. That comes to us, and it says in the letter that is to be used for energy fund. So we use it to pay people who have oil payments that perhaps they, by a few dollars, don't qualify for fuel assistance. We've used it for people who have electric heat, gas payments.
Now, I remember that came from Cheryl Gould, the attorney, if I remember correctly.
Well, it comes from the foundation, and she
Yes.
happens to be one of the trustees, yes.
Yes.
But that is
Okay.
designated
Now
for
I
its use.
remember.
They also gave us some money for transportation this year as well, which was wonderful. As part of that GoFundMe campaign, they matched some of the donations in that.
One of the reasons that I think transportation is where Jenna might have wanted it to go is that she used it. It was something that when she could no longer drive, she used and appreciated.
I move that we put in the $10,000 to the transportation driver and van maintenance fund.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the money from the Sprong estate go into the transportation fund. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and nobody opposed and no abstentions, so we have a vote.
Thank you very much.
Yes. That's exciting, I think, because I think that's perhaps where she might have been thinking that it would go anyway, but she just maybe wasn't specified. So, and there certainly is a need, and I see transportation as being central as far as keeping the wheel moving, you know, as far as seniors go. So we really, it's a great place to put it, I think. All right, moving along. I had requested last month that we have a report from the subcommittees this month. And I will speak for the membership subcommittee, and we are waiting for Emmett's visit in April, which we will speak about in a few minutes, but to get current updates, and then the membership subcommittee will be meeting to update our manuals, and that will be toward the end of April. So that's where the membership subcommittee is, and we have the awareness subcommittee and the housing
Well,
subcommittee.
I guess it's gonna be me, not the
Yes.
chair. I think she knew she had to speak, so she didn't. We did meet, and we voted our statement of purpose, which I guess now the board has to vote on accepting it as our statement of purpose. Is that correct, Pamela?
You can present it to the board.
Okay. This is our statement of purpose. The purpose of the COA Awareness Subcommittee is to educate the community about the programs and services offered by DEHS. Secondly, to create unity between departments with regard to issues involving our senior population. Thirdly, to assist in dispersing information pertinent to the well-being of our senior citizens.
Bob, I can provide you with the wording for that.
Yep.
So that we voted as being our statement of purpose. Then we discussed how to implement
Oh, good job.
our statement of purpose.
Wonderful.
And one of the things we discussed was having a presence at Third Thursdays this summer, as we did last year. We discussed the MAG and how we were going to be able to get the word out, and it was decided that we would ask the board as citizens, not as board members, to write letters in support of it if this is the concept that they believe in. Then Pamela brought up that that we're going to have a townwide broadcaster, and we discussed what the topic that she writes about might be. And the last townwide was
You're talking
devoted.
about the page one?
Yes, her letter that's on the first page was devoted to fitness, because that appeals not only to the seniors, but to, to everybody in the town. So what would a topic be that would have that kind of broad appeal? And we came up with services, because our services are not just for seniors, they're for the whole human population of the town, and now the animal population of the town. So,
They're not usually reading page one.
no, but their mommies are. So that was sort of what we came up with, and our next meeting is Thursday, April 13th, and
What time?
9:30.
9:30, thank you.
I'll be there in my pajamas.
I will try to make that myself. I
And
enjoy going to those meetings, the subcommittee meetings.
we would ask that people on the board think about other ways for us to implement the three parts of our purpose. We can always use input as to how other people think that we can get the word out and the kinds of things that we should be doing.
So, we're gonna be updating the manual, and maybe we could get that purpose into the manual when we can revise what's in the manual about the awareness subcommittee and get that clarified in there.
Yep.
You have that?
Yep.
Okay. That would be
Good
great, yeah. So, yeah, because then anybody looking through the manual, and because it's an open document, would be helpful to have the purpose and the mission, so to speak.
Okay,
Great, that's really progress, thank you.
you're welcome.
So, Anything?
I think we're gonna have to put housing off because of
Right,
Patty
Patty's
not
not
being able
here.
to be here. She's been meeting regularly with the Littleton Housing Association. They've got a few changes over there that she can tell us about. I'm sure she'd like to update us at the next meeting.
We will table the housing subcommittee until next month. And we are moving right along.
Yes, we are.
Oh, I know. So under new business, I think Pamela was going to mention this because she's hosting this kind of thing, the Emmett, and I just mentioned the fact that Emmett was coming in April, so you're on.
So, Emmett Schmarzo from the State Department of Elder Affairs regularly goes around the whole state and holds these regional board trainings. We're going to be hosting him on April 21st. That's a Friday. I've already heard back from Concord, Woburn, Carlisle, tentatively Harvard. And it is open to all the towns in the area. He sends out the invitation to people. So,
April 21.
April 21st, right?
8:45.
9:15.
Oh, said 8:45 someplace, but, oh, he starts at 9:15?
He starts at 9:15.
Okay.
So we're going to be downstairs in room 103, and for anyone who hasn't attended a training that Emmett does, he does a great job of addressing it to COA boards, but also Friends board members are there, and they always learn a great deal about what's happening in the state and how they can work cooperatively with Friends boards and between Friends boards and COA boards. He's always entertaining and always has the latest information, so I really look forward to having this. Then I also attend a training that he does that's just for directors, which is different because it focuses a lot more on the reporting aspects. But I think this is going to be a great opportunity to pull together some of the local towns and
And
and talk.
I could like to just throw in too that one of the requirements as a board member is that we attend one training per year. And this Emmett's programs are perfect. And the fact that it's being held right here in this building in a couple of weeks is very convenient, so I would urge all board members to be there. I have never gone to one of his trainings and not come away learning something new.
I did it last year. You mean I have to do it again?
He always has something new. You have to do one training a year, Mary. You pick.
Sure about that?
It's right in the manual, under responsibilities. So, but he's a wonderful, in my opinion anyway, he's a great, it's always educational. You learn something. That's why we're waiting to update the manuals until we get information from him, because he usually will have more current, he's revised different things, and he'll get at least one thing out.
It's a 2-hour presentation?
It's in the morning, just in the morning.
9:15 to 11:45,
So, yep.
hour and a half.
He's very good. He won't bore you. You know that. You've been enough times, so.
And for those who were involved when we first started working, the membership committee first started working on putting the manual together, a great deal of the information in the manual came directly from
From
the
him.
state elder affairs and through Emmett. In
Right.
terms of suggestions for job descriptions and functions, et cetera.
Most of the information, a lot of it, and we used information he gave us to write the job description for a board member, for a chair of a subcommittee, et cetera, so.
He's a paid employee. He's earning it.
Well, he does a good job, in my opinion. I think he's great. So.
How do you spell his last name?
SCH,
No, it's, okay,
MARSOW.
thank you.
Okay, so mark your calendars, board members, if you can possibly be
I
there.
already reserved my seat.
Yes, you
I
need to let me know so that I'll know how many people are gonna be there.
I think I also have RSVP'd on that myself, yeah. All right,
And several Friends board members have already RSVP'd.
that's great. Yep. Okay, and moving on, we are so fortunate in having a guest here who has applied to fill a vacancy on the COA board. Anne Marie Chanowski is here, and in your packet, you have her application, a copy of her application, and a copy of the questions that we asked board candidates. Just for Anne Marie's benefit, Anne Marie, come forward and join us, please. You don't have to sit over there. I think perhaps most of you know Anne Marie. Seen her certainly down here and around, and so, but
Although I note that she is rather a newcomer to town. She's only been
Been
here
here.
42 years.
our boys played hockey together. I know Anne Marie
Maine, that
from
wouldn't
way
even
back.
count as a visitor.
She doesn't know much about town. So what we did, just for your knowledge, I don't know how many years ago, we decided that it would be good to have a set of standard questions that we asked all board applicants, so that we had a way of, weighing things and keeping us organized, so to speak.
Sounds great.
So that's what we do. And what I'm going to suggest to the board is that when we get to the point of asking, and I will say, it's probably best if we ask you the questions, because that generates other comments from you and information, et cetera. And then we can open it up to a general discussion. Are you comfortable with that?
I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay. So, and now I will suggest to the board members that we start with Bob. There's only 9 questions. So, not 30. But I would suggest to the board that we start with Bob and just take turns and go around and ask the questions, if that's okay with everybody. Unless you have a better idea. Okay, yep, move that over and make yourself comfortable. Barbara, can you move the microphone nearer to you when you, so that you have it handy there? Okay. So. Okay, Bob, you got number 1.
Oh, it doesn't say, are you married?
Oh,
My wife wouldn't like that.
no, I'll tell on you.
Board members are appointed by the selectmen. Every board member is considered an employee of the town. I don't know what your status is as the head of the social club, but that would definitely be a thing of the board. That responsibility brings with it an obligation to adhere to various laws, as well as taking training at various times and being on TV with monthly board meetings. Do you anticipate any difficulty with any of those requirements?
Absolutely not.
There you go.
All right.
2.
You have at least number 3.
2.
Number 2, how will your skill set enhance the COA board? And you have listed at least 4 of them, so you can pick any one you want.
Or more, or all.
I'm very interested in the town, and currently I'm working with the seniors here in a support group. But that's not my only interest in town. I'm an aging person myself. I'm interested in what is being pursued for us as seniors. I think we've got an aging population that's coming in. I'd like to see services provided. I'd like to see people actively involved. The awareness committee is definitely something I would be very interested in. I have no problems with public speaking, and definitely interested in any program that supports the seniors here in town.
I see you say here you were previous director of volunteers at Neshoba.
At Neshoba.
Did you know Corinne Moyer?
Yes, actually, she was my assistant.
She's
She is passed.
very good friend, yes, very nice.
Yes.
You got good training.
I actually, it was almost 30 years ago that I was the director there. I had encouraged the hospital at that time to involve more of the youth, so I'm very definitely interested in cooperating with having the MAG Center, where we're having seniors be exposed to younger people and middle-aged people, because I really think that that's what's best for all of us, is for the younger people to be exposed to older people and appreciate the experience that we have.
Did you know Kathleen McDougal in social services up there?
No, Kathleen wasn't when I was there,
Okay.
during my tenure. I was there approximately a year and a half. Norma Garvin had stepped down and moved into working in Dr. Barzan's office. I stepped in and increased the membership and volunteers. I started writing policy and procedures for volunteers in the hospital. And I am now currently a member of the Friends of Neshoba.
I was there for 6 months with Kathleen and doing nursing home placement for my social work license.
Very nice. It's a nice community hospital.
Yes, yes.
There's good care provided there.
It-
I'm currently finishing up a grant for them where they administered, through the transformation grant from the state, they work to implement lean into the hospital, which is a methodology of, kind of cleaning things up and having things uniformed and having things run smoothly. So it's been a successful 2 years. Grant's winding down. My final reports are due on the 15th of April. Again, small community hospital. I'm interested in what we can provide for all of our community members, whether it's here or in air.
They get good ratings now. They've
Yes,
come up.
yes, they have.
Yes, yeah.
My ears just perked up. You said you just finished a grant. Do you do grant writing?
I do not do grant writing.
We've been looking for
try,
someone to
Bob.
do grant writing for years.
I have written grants in the past.
Yeah.
I bet that's not my specialty.
Okay,
Well, don't hide your light under a
but you
bushel.
have some experience in understanding what different groups need and so forth.
She understands
Anne
a
Marie
little
helped
bit.
me very much in writing the bulk of the grant that got us the chairs for the social club.
Right.
The $500 grant from the Friends of the Neshoba Valley Medical Center. So she certainly has some skills in putting it together.
That was an easy one, Pam. Writing a transformation grant to implement a $250,000 project at the hospital was not a grant that I wrote.
I agree.
I am tracking that, and it is on track.
Wonderful.
But you have probably a lot more knowledge and insight than some of us do. I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Take it, we'll take it.
Excellent.
Oh, yes, they're very nice.
If
All
you-
right.
If we had to choose, if you had to choose, the two programs that you think are most important provided by the COA to the community, which would you think?
The two most important, well, the number one, and it's not in there yet, is the MAG Center. I really think we have a definite need for space and activities that bring us all together. I do know myself that I have a significant number of friends here in town who are aging in, but they still think that they're 30 years old.
Right.
And yet when I come back and I say, this is what the social club did this week, and they're saying, boy, that's really interesting, but I'm never going to be in that situation. It's like, oh, really? Don't know.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. I have not attended the community supper myself,
I have not.
but
But that's not one of our functions.
That's not,
Okay.
no one of
No,
us.
that's the churches.
That's council churches.
so I think the fact that we work with the Board of Selectmen, would that be considered?
Well, think of services like transportation, the lunch program, social club,
Exercise groups,
Well-
exercise groups, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, say it, it's okay.
All of those, and they're all established, so or pretty much established. If you were to ask me which ones were important, then it would be the exercise and the socialization and the MAG. I also raise service dogs. Sorry to bring that up, it's very dear to me. I think pet therapy, being able to go out into the community, not necessarily with a dog, it could be another type of animal, but I have found that people who are alone sometimes just need that connection to feel relaxed enough to go someplace.
Good, thank you, Anne Marie.
Anne Marie,
Hi Barbara, how are you? How are you?
good. When faced with disagreements and contentious situations, which you must run into, how do you handle them?
fairly easy for me, I think. And this doesn't only have to be with the aging population, is that correct?
Right.
As Director of Volunteers, I was the claims manager for Tufts Medicare Preferred, the claims manager at Atrius Health, had a number of staff working underneath me. I approach things in a positive way. I'd rather be straightforward if I'm having a problem with you and say, we need to sit down and chat. Because otherwise, there's hard feelings that go behind the scenes. Those tend to manifest into larger problems. I'd rather have it out and have the discussion of what the problem is and how that we can work to resolve it.
How about in the social club, when you run into some contentiousness? Contentiousness.
And, now, see,
It's different.
that's
I
fun.
know, that's
It's funny
different.
that you said that, because we've got aging population, and because their social skills, as some of us age, becomes more centered around them, not necessarily centered around the group. But we run the group in support of everybody in the room. We take a giant step back if somebody's having a tough day, and I may go over and chat with that person, but it's not a negative, you stop doing what you're doing.
Right, right.
It is simply, is there something going on in your life right now that we need to talk about? What is upsetting to you? If you're an older person, you like to have things sometimes there right at the moment that you want them. They're used to having that from some of their caregivers. That's not possible in a group setting. We run the group for everyone in that room, and I think we do really well. I have a waiting list of people wanting to come into the group. They all leave happy, so if there's a little spat during the day, it's done and over with.
How large is the group as a rule?
We average between, right now, about 10 a day. We have the possibility of having 10 to 12 folks in the room.
Without expanding.
We're trying. I don't have problems bringing people in. It's finding the number of days that we can do this, and also,
You got limitations of space.
limitations for volunteer staff.
Right.
Did I answer your question completely?
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
I love my
What it
group.
really said was,
Yeah.
how do you shut up Bob Stetson when he talks too much? But
Bob, I haven't ever had that problem.
She got
Oh.
tagged
may.
for what?
I know, huh?
We would welcome you. Any of you are welcome to come and sit in.
I get to listen on Wednesdays, and it's just delightful to hear them. They
They're
have
happy.
such a good time,
Nothing, yeah.
such a good time.
They always are beaming when I see them come down to the diner. Sometimes myself, if we're in Stretch and Flex or something, and they're always got a smile on their face and they're coming along.
Comes to be Tuesday or Wednesday, and they're getting on the van. They really have tried several times to convince me that it's really Monday, so that they can be there a few days longer.
very good.
If only we had the space.
I know.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Don't you think questions 4 and 5, she's kind of answered?
well, I was just going to say, the fifth question here, which I was going to throw out, and I was going to add to it and say, you've kind of addressed this, but I'm just going to put it out there, and just in case you might have something else to add. And the question is, what are your interests with regard to elder services? So, you certainly have talked a lot about that, so, but unless there's another aspect that you might want to mention,
No, I
think
can't.
you deserve the opportunity.
I can't think of anything offhand. I kind of group it all together. It's who I am. I'm really interested in the seniors here in town. It's
What
not a,
age group do you particularly like? 50 and up?
definitely 50 and up. These are people aging in, and there are a lot of people 50 years old who really would benefit by some of the services that we offer that they don't take part in.
Now, this is one of the things that we've struggled with for years, is how do you get to the 50 to 65 group and
Right.
provide them with things that are significant for them, but important for them, as you said, to be aging in. And
Yeah.
it's a very difficult situation.
Just recently, I had spoken I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names, but I think her name is Nancy, about volunteering to teach some craft classes. And the craft classes that I would like to teach here would be more of interest to that 50 to 60-year-olds, not necessarily the group that I'm now working with. They have some real limitations, but something to develop something that you like to do. I have several male friends who are in that, 50 to 60-year-old range who have had careers, and now it's time to settle down. And what am I gonna do when I'm sitting at home and I don't wanna sit in front of the TV all day long? I really would like to see our community of young people, the 50 to 60-year-olds, more involved with the seniors, not as necessarily as caregivers, but aging into the population, being a family of friends that, sometimes all you need is a phone call. How about coming down and we're gonna talk about your time in the war, or we're going to sing songs, and the music group that you guys are planning to start there, the singing, the chorus, all of those things draw people in. But we have to get
Yeah, it is.
we do have to get the word out. There are just too many of us that think, I'm not that old yet, I don't really need to be involved.
Well, age
And
is
then-
just a number anyway.
I know that, but,
Some people don't.
I know, but they see themselves back at 20 or 25 and not realizing that their friends now are aging in also.
It's true.
It just kind
Yeah, I
of
think
creeps
we-
along, up on people, and they don't really
I still feel,
consciously-
I feel like I'm 18, but my body tells me I'm not.
You're right there.
I wish it was different, but
just a
that's how
number.
it is.
It's the way it is,
It's your
yes.
I
mental.
sort of have a question off the suggested questions.
Can you wait until we get through the questions?
Sure.
And then can you,
Well, I'm getting ready to skip down to 8 because I think she's answered 6 and 7.
I
right-
think
right
so.
after.
Right.
What are your feelings regarding visibility, presence as a board member at various senior events, town meetings, board meetings such as Selectmen and Finance Committee?
Let me make sure that I understand you
Okay,
correctly.
us actually being physical presence at.
I
many
think
of them.
that's very important. And if I wasn't finishing writing part of the grant tonight, I would be at the selectmen's meeting. So I do think our presence is important. How do we find out what's going on in
Because
the
you're
town?
gonna be asked to do that, so we'd rather have you wanting to do it.
it certainly is a part of, I think, showing support and visibility, it's everything.
Right.
We need to be out there, the board members need to be present at different sessions and events and meetings and things, so.
Are you considering asking potential members, like myself, to attend on April 21st? Or do you have to be a,
Oh, you could go.
Oh, I don't,
Well,
it
it's
says
for
board
board
members,
members.
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Board
Oh,
members,
okay.
Yeah.
That
didn't
I
know.
said perspective.
Yeah. It's not open to the public, it's
Oh,
for
okay.
board
I
members
didn't
and
realize that.
and Friends Boards members.
It's unfortunate, but he comes, he doesn't come here every year. He does
But
do
there are several-
presentations
There are several
around.
planned all summer long.
Right.
Right up, he's got his schedule right now from April through September, so there'll be someplace to go.
And if you were on the board and as a new member, you're certainly made aware of when he is around,
Every
so you can go
opportunity.
and, yeah. And they're usually, convenient, I mean, not too long a drive,
Right.
so.
But I definitely would be interested in
Yeah,
that.
it would be a great benefit. I remember when I went to his first meeting as a new board member, and it just helped me put everything in perspective.
me as well. I only had to go to Groton,
Oh.
so it wasn't bad.
Yeah, so definitely you would, if you are a board member, you definitely would have the opportunity soon
Okay.
to attend.
Because I've been on, this is not my first board that, in town, first board I'm applying to, but I was on the Friends of Jocelyn in Boston, and also chairman of the board-elect of the American Diabetes Association. So I've been on other boards, and I understand responsibilities on a board.
Good.
Thank you. Okay,
Number 9.
then, maybe I'll take the last one, then taking us out of order, but Bob did it, I'll blame him, he took us out of order.
No, you took 7 and I took, you took 6 and I took 8.
So, but I would like to ask the last question, if board members don't mind. Do you have any questions about the job description for a board member, or for any other aspect of being a board member? And we were just talking about that, that's why I kind of wanted to just bring it up.
So I did have one question when I read through,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to know what the parameters were around there. It's under ensure adequate resources. It says make a personal financial contribution or in-kind contribution to COA.
And that is in the, wait a minute, I think it's under the, it's not in the job description, is it, or is it?
That's what was sent to me.
Yes, the job description, okay, sorry. I'm just.
So is your
to the right
question what an
page.
in-kind
And what, the
contribution
difference
would be?
between
That's
is,
like volunteering.
Would you like us to say that we'd like $5,000 a year from you?
Well, I guess that was, if there was a financial one, it's not, that's not an easy one for me.
Not
I
for
went
any of
through
us,
it, okay.
believe me.
no,
It's an or. If-
Okay.
If a person wants to contribute financially, that's great, and we don't say no to that.
and it is,
But we do expect that board members will be involved in some way with something.
Okay. I will
it
definitely
is
be
definitely
involved.
written with that, and that was taken verbatim from an Emmett, document.
Okay.
And it does not mean that you have to make financial contributions at all. So, but some people
that I
prefer to
wouldn't-
do that, and that's their choice. They can, if they choose to.
And I know on some major boards, people are expected to make significant contributions. This is not
No.
that kind of a board.
I was
This is an
asking
advisory
because
board.
if that was the
Okay.
case, then I probably should not attempt. I went through, when I went through my divorce, I lost a lot of my retirement account, so I do very well on what I make.
There are lots of opportunities for board members to volunteer, to be part of activities, to assist with activities. Susan mentioned like the third Thursdays, the awareness subcommittee. That literally means someone sitting at a table talking to people that come by about Elder and Human Services, passing out
That I
brochures.
definitely can do.
Yeah, can I ask my question?
You may, thank you.
We've spent a lot of time and in looking at your resume, you absolutely would bring just a tremendous skill set to the board. What do you want the board to do for you, or what are you looking, why join the board? What is it going to do for you?
That's an odd question to me because I want to join to help.
Okay, well,
At this point, I'm not looking for what you can do for me, it's what I can do for the board as well as my town and the seniors that I feel very connected to.
so that was a beautiful answer. That wasn't odd. The question is really, people join boards for reasons, and some people have hidden agendas for.
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
I do not have a hidden agenda.
And,
If we keep at her, she's gonna change her mind.
Mary, mind your own business.
I'm just
No
warning you.
interruptions, Mary, please, thank you.
You know what I'm saying, and why that becomes an equally important question as to,
Yes. I understand why your question is important.
thank you.
Again, I bring up my service dogs that I raise.
I know.
Not only do I raise a service dog, I'm on my 14th dog who's now in evaluation, and I'm very proud of that. I raise service dogs, not that I need a service dog, but I raise them to help other people. And people always say to me, it's so hard to give up this dog at the end. How do you do it? And it's because I'm in service to others. I'm here to help. I raise the service dog for somebody that can't raise a service dog. I help in the town because I have the ability, the skill set, and I enjoy working with the people in my community.
Thank you. Thank you. For all of it.
Yes. Do you have any further questions about that in-kind donation
Nope.
thing? Okay, I want to be clear on that, I just want to be sure.
I just didn't want you to say,
I finally
if I
found
got a
my
letter from the
copy.
selectman that said, okay, now you can give us a
No.
check for $10,000, and I was gonna say, oh boy, I went the wrong way.
Yeah, I know, because,
Made the wrong choice.
and I don't, most people do, not an, they do an in-kind
Right.
contribution,
Right.
so.
So we'll have you this summer sitting out at Fay Park at a table
That's fine.
with the mosquitoes.
And I'll bring my service dog, and boy, service dogs attract all sorts of people.
Well, they're wonderful, they are.
It's a
We
good
have a
idea.
great, we have a needs dog in our church, as you well know, I'm sure.
Yes.
In town, so, yeah, and
Whoever
they are
brought a
wonderful.
dog into the social club?
I have. Truman, who is now in evaluation, has been in multiple times.
Oh.
In fact, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. I can head down to the room. I visit Hazel quite frequently with my service dog because she enjoys the service dog. And every week when I come in on Monday, she said, "Did you have to take the dog back to the prison?" Yes, the dog is back in the prison, Hazel.
All right. Do you have other questions of us?
No, I think you're a great group, and I think you've done some wonderful things. I have found it a pleasure to work with Pam. 2.5 years ago, when we started the social club, I was just a volunteer. I just noticed how many wonderful things Pam was doing, and I enjoy working with Pam and Tina, just for the betterment. I just have seen so many things happen here in Littleton.
It's very exciting. I agree
Yes,
with
it
you.
is.
Yes, it is, yeah. And thank you. We're all working toward that end, and things are starting to move around and fall into place a little bit for us, I think.
That's great.
It is. Any other questions for her, board members?
Wonderful.
Now,
So
yeah,
procedure-wise.
I was just gonna get to that. Go
Right.
ahead. No, go ahead.
We have 2 openings on the board.
Right.
One is available right now, and that's because Roseanne stepped down, so there's the remainder of her term. And then the second becomes available late in June because Barbara has decided to not re-up. And so that leaves a full term available.
Oh, I said if I signed up for 3 more years, I'd be 90.
90 years young. Don't worry, she's,
Didn't bother us, but it seemed to bother her.
and you know what? She's not gonna be absent all that much. She will still be around,
Good.
doing things, so.
That's good to know.
So as it happens, we've had 2 applicants, you, and we have another applicant that we'd like to interview later. So I don't think anything's gonna be decided quickly on this. I hope you're fine with waiting until we can sort out all the
Yes.
bits and pieces on this.
It's not gonna be like next month, I doubt. very
Well, the
much.
appointment is actually made by the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Now, they would be coming up for their regular rotation to do appointments at the end of June. And you probably wouldn't want to, out of sequence, do an appointment so close to June. So I'm betting that they'll do both of the appointments in June.
That would make most sense, and it'd be the most logical way to plan things.
But again, there is nothing to stop you from attending meetings
No,
Great.
and staying involved and interested in what we're doing. You're around here quite a bit.
Yes. Bad penny, I keep coming back.
And take a good look at those grants, and maybe you can figure out.
I thank you for the opportunity to speak before you.
well, we're grateful that you,
Very much.
That you
Yes.
applied.
and that you did apply, and that, yes. And excited. It's an exciting thing, I think, to have new blood and to, you know, come
The
up with
level
new
of
ideas.
enthusiasm and devotion that you have for the
Yeah.
community. And I mean, I met you when our boys were little.
Yep. And I was always involved, wasn't I?
Yes, you were.
Okay.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Thank you.
All right. That's great. Okey-doke. Any other need to
I
discuss?
make town meeting update.
Right, okay, I'm ready to move on to new business C, the town meeting update. Articles of interest for seniors.
Yes.
The PAM project.
So I have the list of articles that are going to come up. Town meeting is going to be May 1st. I guess that's the earliest it can be, first Monday of May. I do want to point out that there's going to be some discussion of a new procedure. You're all familiar with the way they go through the budget, where they go through line by line, but they don't debate each line. A person calls out if they want to place a hold, and then they come back to it at the end and do the discussion. So it looks like the moderator is going to do something similar, called a call of the articles. So
All
just
of the
keep,
article?
yeah, just keep your ears open when you're at town meeting to recognize that they're going to do that slightly differently. People will still have just the same opportunity to discuss. They're just trying to, in recognition of the work that's been done to try to streamline town meeting, to try to make it work a little bit more efficiently for people. No one likes being there at 1:15 in the morning.
No.
At all. So when
Very
you,
few are.
well, maybe I do, yeah. So if you look at the town meeting articles, obviously, everybody's interested in budget and all those kinds of things, but the first items that come up that really concern us is in the annual town meeting, Article 8, which it's the capital improvements plan, and it's some adjustments to the capital improvement plan. And that's where the town is matching for us the money for us to get that second van.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was who asked how we spend the money in the transportation fund. If the town were not matching this $11,640 for that grant, it would have had to come out of the transportation fund, which would have been a big hit on that fund, so.
Wipe that $10,000 right out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so I'm really asking everyone to please vote in support of that article. Actually, it's Article 5, not Article 8. And then Article 15 is going to come up, and that's going to be the work-off program, the tax work-off program. And Bonnie Holston had asked for an increase in the funding to that program from $55,000 to $80,000 to provide additional money to be used to pay the workers in the program. We've had an erosion of the number of hours that people can work because of the increase in the minimum wage. Everyone works at minimum wage. So this is an attempt to try to make the number of hours that people are available back up to where it used to be a few years ago, and maybe even a little above that. Also gives us plenty of headroom for additional people to join the program. I'm particularly happy that this was Bonnie's idea, because I think that's a statement of how the town views that work as being useful
And productive.
and important to the
What
town.
article is that?
15.
15.
That's Article 15 in the annual meeting. There are 2 zoning amendments that the Housing Subcommittee has been working very hard with planning to help move forward. One is the changes that would be around senior residential development. And those of you who attended any of those meetings heard the whole discussion about changing from requiring over 55 development to targeting over 55 development, and trying to write the law in a manner that would attract developers to come forward and to want to create that kind of housing in town. So watch for that one. And then there's also a zoning amendment about accessory dwellings,
Oh, yeah.
the quote-unquote in-law apartment. And again, an attempt to write that law in a fashion to promote accessory dwellings, and yet control it so that it's not a hindrance to neighborhoods. If you were at any of the meetings in the master plan and also with the planning board talking about this, we have a real housing crunch in town, and there are very few opportunities for seniors to downsize or to take advantage of the fact that they're in these big houses. So this is a potential for that. They're very lengthy bills, and when you get your mailing, you probably want to take some time to read through those. You don't want to wind up reading those on the floor as they're getting ready to try to arrange for the vote. And then personal exemption amounts. There are personal exemptions that are available for low-income elderly, disabled veterans, blind people in town. These are from the state, by state statute. The town has traditionally always voted to bump those by an additional 50%. And there's discussion now with the chief assessor about, in the fall town meeting, perhaps asking to bump that even higher. But these are all things that are
I'm sorry,
related to the elders.
give me the 2 words for that, and it's for
Personal exemptions,
personal exemption.
personal exemption amount.
Pam, I have a copy of that legal notice that you just mentioned, which is very interesting, word for word, if you'd like it. It was in the Independent. You probably have it anyway.
This is the
April
The-
6th.
public meeting that was held last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm certainly not going to read this.
No,
but,
no, 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 no,
both
that's
of
for
those-
you.
Both
You
of those
just covered
items.
it.
Well,
You did
we
good.
were involved with that meeting because the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee was involved with that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mary. So you will get your mailing that will have all of the information about the articles. Take a minute, read through them, but I've highlighted the ones that of particular interest to us
So we've got
and seniors.
three different amendments, a couple of zoning. So
Yeah.
3 or 4, 5 things that we want to particularly pay attention to, so. Thank you, that was good information to give us the heads up for and to
Yep.
pay attention to. Any questions for Pam? All right. Bob Stetson, I think you're on.
The budget?
Yep.
Okay, you've all received your reports. The only thing that's not in there is, in the Mart report, which is the one that says Mart at the top, is the number of riders for February and March. And the number of riders for February was, like, Pam, have you got that off of yours? So I just-
Yeah, February was 480.
480, okay. I did put it into the thing, so it will be there, but I didn't have it at the time that I did the report. And March, we haven't received yet. So you can obviously see we're running 434, 525, 509. The numbers are just huge in terms of monthly rides. And then the rest of it is pretty standard. Anybody has any questions on the Mart report?
That's a good number for February, which is a short month to begin with.
Right.
And bad weather, so 480 is a lot in
The
what?
question is, how many people are we saying no to? And
There are people that we have to say no to, and there are people that we have to take to rides much earlier than they want to go, or they have to wait to be picked up.
Do you have any volunteers? Remember, we were looking for them?
Yes, we have some volunteers who also drive people, but this is talking about the Mart, the vans.
Okay, the office report is nothing spectacular. As usual, Recreation Services has a certain larger amount, but it has plenty of money in the budget. We had, because of some of the other items which would normally be spending a lot more, we're well within budget, even though the recreation services is now above budget by some $400, $493.
And I'll be meeting with Michelle. We may be shifting some things from the 200 account to cover
Yeah.
that.
And the other thing is too, that we set our budget numbers for our subtotals that you find under budget in line 3. And they can be adjusted every year, and we'll look at it at the end of the year, and then Pam will adjust what she wants to put into each one for the coming year. And the total budget is well within balance. We have, we have we've spent 150, like on travel, we spent 152, but we have 500, so we still have 347 in that line item, and you can just do the same thing for each one of them.
Yep.
So, but the budgets look fine, there's no problem. Pam, you might want to just go over, I was looking at this today, and if you would just go over on the funds budget. Because I'm seeing things and I don't know why some of them are even still in there.
And that's my question as well. For example, it still shows that,
Would you just go down them and explain what they are?
yeah, well, at the very beginning, it shows the, no, here it is. It shows the recycling fund, but I know that that's not,
Right,
it's not in
there's no such
existence
thing
anymore, so that one,
It says that there's,
it says there's, remember the negative numbers are positive? So it says that there's $852, but there isn't.
there isn't, okay.
So-
So that just
And I don't know
needs
why
to
that
either
one
be
keeps
cleared out
showing
or-
up, but it does persist.
And I had the same thing with the newsletter gift donation fund. It's showing that it has $405.64, and I assume that's an active account because it's got both debits and credits. And that's gifts for the newsletter, the second to last one.
Yeah, that's the money that comes through the Friends from a town resident
Yeah,
to pay for mailing the newsletter.
right.
The money regularly comes in on that on a monthly basis and then goes out to the post office to pay for the mailings. That $315 that's in there right now is to cover the May and the June mailings.
Now, the COA formula fund balance is got $7,600 in it, and I notice it has debits of $8,600 and credits of $17,000. At first, I thought that was the formula grant, but maybe it's not.
That is the formula grant. It gets money paid into it through the year from the state.
Right,
That's
okay.
based
that's
on
why.
the
Yeah, okay.
population of the town, population of elders, and then that gets decremented. Some of it goes towards Tina's salary.
Right.
Some of it's available for some other aspects.
If I could interject here, I don't think the rest of us have a copy of that.
I don't
I
have
don't think so,
You didn't get one
which
for
is
this
fine.
one. I'm looking at
It's in some of the
February because I
packets.
didn't get it either, but that's okay.
But that's okay, I just don't know how much more discussion you need
Yeah.
on it, because it's hard
Well, I
to
know it was
follow.
emailed to all of you, and it is
Right.
in, I
It
just pulled
usually
it out of
is.
one of the packets, but I wonder if the person who put the packets together
That's all right, don't worry.
might have run out of
We'll,
them.
we'll listen, but just,
No, that's fine. I just thought it would be helpful if people didn't understand what they were.
but they don't have it. Know that they don't understand, so. Which
So
is
those-
okay.
those are
We
the-
don't need to, you know, I mean, it's,
And actually,
Those would be the three financial.
if you
if
have a
like, Bob,
question,
you can come in and talk with me, and we can go over these accounts, and I can pull them up for you and show you how they're debited.
and if the other board members have a question, and you do have it online, please speak to Pam.
Yeah, I apologize that that wasn't in your
No,
packet.
that's okay.
My front desk person put the packets together and must not have
That's all
included
right.
those in all of them, because I,
No
said, I
one's
pulled one
perfect,
out.
you know, we just make mistakes once in a while. Okay,
but Bob, I would be happy to talk with you about any of those, or
That's fine,
anyone. I'd
yeah.
like to be happy to talk with you. This also includes the funds, Mary, you were asking about the Cooper Fund is on here as,
Eleanor Cooper.
well, there's the Eleanor Cooper Gift Fund, which is the one we were just talking about it with the voting, but also what used to be called the Cooper Fund, Emergency Assistance Fund.
Right now, it's called a COA Residential Emergency Assistance.
Right.
Yeah, yep,
Because it includes money more than just from the Cooper.
right.
We had money from the Morrisons and other places.
Yep.
And you see the van fund on here as well.
Anybody has any questions, that's fine. I probably won't be able to answer them.
You do a
no,
good
that's all
job,
right,
Bob.
it's, and we always
just
get,
put the
we
numbers
always do
together.
get that report, generally.
You do
we
very good.
so
I
it's not a
send it
big
to
deal.
you every month. I
Right, it is online.
apologize that it
Yes.
was not printed
I
out
was
for
just
you.
reading through the Friends minutes, and I think that the reason no one is here is they have our board meeting as March 15th at 1:30.
Oh, that
Their
might be,
minutes.
and since this is April. I don't know, we'll find out, but anyway, thank
I
you.
know they're all downstairs working on the thrift shop.
Right.
Oh, well,
yeah,
They are in the
yeah,
building, they're
yeah.
definitely in the building.
All right, you're on with your director's report, though, I
Okay,
believe.
director's report. So there's a few things going on that I just wanted to call out to everyone. Davis Bates will be here on Wednesday. Anyone who has seen Davis Bates perform knows that he's a lot of fun. He tells stories, he sings, he plays musical instruments, and he'll be here Wednesday at 11 down in the multipurpose room. If you can call, if you're interested, call and sign up just so we'll know how many chairs to put out. That promises to be a fun hour.
I wondered why we have some of those in the multipurpose room, just because we don't have any other space, because the last one I went to was very good, but it was, people were kind of lost in the middle of the multipurpose room.
Part of the problem is the size. So when I have, like the last one, I had about 22 people there. It's just a little big for either of the rooms that we have upstairs. It's just too cramped for them to also have their equipment and their sound and what have you.
Because he also was very good.
Yeah, and I'm not always able to get the selectmen's room. So
The
that's why we wind up
acoustics were
doing it.
very good last time when he was here.
You're talking about Ramblin' Richard?
Yeah, I was sitting in the front.
Yeah. So Davis Bates, Ramblin' Richard, most of the musical programs come to us because of grants from the Massachusetts Cultural Commission and the Littleton Cultural Commission, which is really nice to have that and have the support, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to afford having them here at all. So I want to make sure people knew that Davis Bates was coming. We have just finished doing taxes for seniors, low-income seniors. We did about 100 residents in town. Unfortunately, we had to turn away some people as well. We had a long waiting list, which we plugged in with cancellations, and we did 2 Saturdays to take care of people off of the waiting list. But we did have some people who were calling as recently as last Friday,
Of course.
asking if we could do their taxes for them.
I got 3 calls on Wednesday.
Yeah. Again, it's always in the broadcaster, it always announces the dates, tells people to call in. Very popular program. We have 2 people doing it this year, Tony Zazinski, as always, and Deb Brine. Both had to attend the training, go through the testing process. It's not an easy thing to get certified by AARP and the IRS to be able to do the program, but we're very grateful to them, and it very much helped some people who would otherwise have thought that they were getting nothing, and instead they were able to really help them.
Years ago, I used to coordinate the tax program and get a fellow from Worcester State to come out, and one from Boston and one from Fitchburg. They really are willing to do that. So it wouldn't be too much for Tom.
Well, it's the AARP
He does
that
it with AARP, right?
Right, and they
They
also,
did too.
they have a third AARP person that does reviews
Right.
all the returns and everything else. And
Yes.
so
We
there's a
we
system.
have chosen to go with the AARP program because it is certified. It
Yes.
works directly with the IRS. It is done online using their online software. We feel like that people's money and the sensitivity with this, that we want to make sure it's absolutely accurate. So we don't just have people come in off the street or from a school to do things. They have to go through the training program for AARP, they have to take the tests, and they have to be certified as capable. And as Marge mentioned, there is a review process that is done at a higher level by the district person from AARP that makes sure that they're absolutely accurate. Yeah, I do not want to go into the business of certifying people's ability to do taxes.
No, neither would I.
I do want to call out, since the Friends aren't here, I do want to call out, the Friends have had some stuff going on that's really been a lot of fun lately. They organized for the Girl Scouts to come in last Wednesday, and they did a luncheon and games. The Girl Scouts seemed to have a really good time. They had made cookies and brownies and made sandwiches. Social Club came, as well as other seniors. And that was all organized by Nancy Levine as part of the Friends, and the Friends were there helping pull that off.
The spaghetti was Wednesday.
Not the
yeah.
Friends, though.
Yeah, that was the Friends. The Friends organized the spaghetti lunch last Thursday. at the high school. And again, I think people had a really good time with that. I think there were about 85 people that were there. They had music, the choir sang, the band played, and that was a really nice cooperative thing between the high school kids and the seniors. And again, I think the seniors had a really good time with that, even if it was pouring rain. Very nice that they had the young men with the umbrellas to escort people in and out. As always, the Friends have come through for us. The Friends are the ones who supplied the majority of the money so that we could replace the front desk and my desk in the office, which had gotten broken when they were moving the furniture in and out for the rug replacement. If it had not been for them, I think we'd still be using folding tables in the office. And they also, you may have noticed that we kind of had a snowy March, and they paid out of their fund for hand shoveling for some people in town who were in desperate need of that. Which again, we're very grateful to them for that. The rest of my report you can read. I don't need to belabor it, other than it to just echo what Bob was saying, is transportation, we are really maxed out at just under 500 rides a month. And you can see the numbers here on lunches. Littleton, Minuteman Senior Services tells us that Littleton is one of the best congregate lunch programs in terms of numbers.
Can I ask you something, going back to the town meeting update? Is there not something in the town meeting, a budget for a person to work with Tina?
Yes, well, there's a person to be hired by me. We're talking about a second outreach worker. Yeah. We've also asked for a half-time driver position to be paid, for the first time to have a driver position that's paid by the town, which will help us significantly with our budget problems with trying to meet and stay within the MART budget. Yeah, those will be in the regular budget item. I'm glad you asked about that, Bob. The outreach position is a full-time position and will significantly allow us to catch up with some of the issues that we have of just being totally stressed to the max with people, and also then expand some of the services. I'm hoping to use that person to help us with some of the caregiving services and also to really literally do some outreach. Right now, it's very difficult for us to get out into the community because we're just so busy all the time. And, you know, again, talking about the need for space for the seniors, when people come in to see Tina, again, they have to wait in the hallway. And it's neither confidential or particularly nice for them to have to sit there and have people walk past them and know that they're coming in to
What are you doing
see
here?
Tina. Exactly, right.
Well, not only that, but you can actually hear, you can't always make out exact words, but you can hear, you know, in the room adjoining Tina's office, you can hear conversations, you know, when you're sitting there. So-
Yeah, it'd be nice to have more
Yeah.
soundproof offices and
Yeah.
to have just a
so
waiting area.
Privacy is an issue. All right, any questions for Pam? If not, Tina, would you please come and
Come on down.
sit with us?
I promise
Thank
a
you.
short report.
Report, that's fine.
As Pamela said, we were very appreciative of the Friends and actually the Cooper Fund too for the hand shoveling that we had because March proved to be a month we really hadn't counted on that amount of snow and that amount of hand shoveling that needed to be done. So that was very beneficial. I think it was a busy month for general information, people coming in, you know, questioning employment services, trying to get back to work after not being employed, volunteer opportunities, and as always, the financial programs. So I've been trying to really talk up TRED and some of the other financial programs that we have available to such a wide variety of seniors that would qualify, that just feel that they wouldn't qualify. So we're encouraging more people to at least make that application. It's all confidential when the group meets. If they don't have enough funds to give to everyone, we could still try a year later when perhaps TRED has more money in it. The Bradford Sampson Fund, that has been very active. And, you know, we're meeting people of all ages in the community who have financial needs for their pets. And we've been able to successfully work with people, getting their pets the necessary veterinary care that they need. And all the groups are going fine, that sort of thing. I do wish I could get out more and do more home visits. Pamela has put in a nice article in the Next Broadcaster encouraging people to really call us if they need a home visit, because if they call and say they need the home visit, it'll get done. Whether we have the time or not, it'll get done. And so that's why anybody out there that really wants a home visit, feel free to call, and I will get out there to visit them.
Do you have a list of like friendly visitors that could go to?
We do.
If they don't need, you know, professional
Right,
help?
right. We have about, currently around 6 friendly visitors who are going out to the community. And then we have some that do friendly visiting and grocery shopping assistance, and with a little bit of transportation. And then we have some people that didn't sign up for friendly visiting or food shopping assistance, but they're doing both in the fact that they're driving some people to medical appointments for us. And they've been very helpful with the overflow and with some extra medical rides that some of our residents are having in town. So that's been very helpful to those people who are doing the medical transportation for us.
Well, St. Anne's has the Hope program too, that does some of these things.
That's great. I know, that's great. All the churches sometimes have their own transportation for some of their parishioners.
Shut-ins, if they
Baptist
get a
Church on the-
call, they go.
The Baptist Church on the 29th of May is going to start a program on a 2-hour
Respite, yeah.
week on memory, you know, on people.
Oh,
to
right,
allow
the memory-
respite
The
for
Memory
people.
Cafe.
And I don't know how it's gonna work out, but we had someone in church on Sunday who had the folder in her hand and wanted to know more about it, so I think it's gonna,
Yeah, that should be very exciting, and that's a Saturday,
Yep.
and is it around noon or
In the
10 to
morning,
12?
10 to 12, I think.
in the
12 to
morning.
2, I think, or something like that.
That's a really nice program. We're very fortunate to have that program starting here, a Saturday program like that, and starting here right in Littleton.
We rely very heavily on volunteers to help us to provide services. If you think about it, there are only 2 staff people in Elder and Human Services to provide services, Tina and myself. All of our front desk people are either volunteers or senior tax workers. Tina mentioned her friendly visitors. Some are senior tax workers, but a lot are volunteers. Volunteers are extremely important down in the kitchen, Meals on Wheels. If we didn't have volunteers, we would not be able to provide anything close to the amount of services that we provide. Littleton is a unique community, and we are truly blessed.
We're very fortunate, especially how important, we were talking about the community supper and how important that is, and to have a steady volunteer that will pick people up and drop them off, and, also stay sometimes and enjoy the meal with them is just really a nice service to have, that she's able to do that at night for us, bring them to the community supper.
They're not all seniors either.
Oh, no, but we serve everybody too, so
Right.
it's so nice,
Nice, yeah.
This worker was able to take a non-senior, a couple of non-seniors, and she takes seniors, wherever the need is. Wherever the need is, she can do it all, and that's what's great about our senior tax work program too. They can work for all the residents in the community in Littleton. It's a nice, so that
Human
makes
Services covers
a
everyone.
lot of things, yeah, that's it.
Humans,
Humans, the humans.
Yes, not the dogs, unfortunately.
We do serve them, the animals.
Well, that's
too.
true.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Bradford Sampson, that,
Because that serves the human.
Right, that's it,
Person,
yeah.
yes. So,
That's it. So thank you, unless you have any questions.
No,
no, thank you, Tina.
thank you, Tina.
Thanks.
All right. May I have a motion to
No,
accept?
Senior
Barbara, let's
Donna.
not
Oh, I'm
forget-
sorry, Barbara. Oh, my gosh, goodness, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
She's already
We
got
got
you
2
off the
months.
board. That's it, you're
No,
gone.
no, that's-
History.
No, terribly sad day.
Well, bingo was thriving. I think there were 20 there this week. But Gail and I were talking today about, we just wish there were ways that we could entice people in during the week. Thursdays are great. We have 25 to 30 people on Thursdays. Friday is pretty good, but we provide the fresh salad on Fridays. We, sometimes have a famous bread pudding on Fridays. But, during the week, we do put out very attractive meals. We cook our own vegetables, fresh, beautiful broccoli, whatever comes in, it's green and orange, and it looks very attractive when it goes out. If the pasta comes in, it comes in raw, we cook it here. We do a lot of the cooking here, so it just makes a difference. And we just hope that people would come in and see and
Well,
try.
that might be something for the
I was
awareness
just
committee
going to
to,
suggest that.
to jump on
Yeah.
how to get the word out.
Right.
I think that's a great idea. It is an awareness issue,
Yeah.
really.
It is an awareness
Yeah.
issue.
Because I think if people were more aware, they'd
Yeah.
show up, and especially with the warmer weather coming, people
Yeah.
will get out more. It's a
And I
great
mean-
way to get out of, just to get out and have have some lunch.
Yeah, the Meals on
You know,
Wheels.
just
that go
saying
out-
something as simple as what you just said. I didn't know we cooked our own vegetables. I assumed it all came in the hot tables and so forth.
No.
But I know, but that needs, just saying something like that can entice people to come.
Yeah. A lot of it comes in that we cook right there. Not the meat or, things like that. but,
Casseroles.
Yeah. It does, it makes a difference. And actually, the Meals on Wheels that go out, we put that all together ourselves, and it really is a very attractive lunch that goes out to the people, rather than how it used to come in all cooked and all sealed, and, it had to be kept hot for,
I have to mention that we're one of the few centers that doesn't have
That
it all
does that.
prepackaged.
Right.
If you think about it, those prepackaged meals, that means from 6 a.m. until someone eats them. They're sitting
Yeah.
there in the package, where ours comes in as food, and then we package it up for the Meals on Wheels people, and we serve it up to people on real plates.
yeah.
We are a green kitchen, and again, we're one of the very few in the Minuteman service area that is a
Yeah.
green kitchen. We use real utensils and real
I think
real
we're the only
plates.
ones that have that sealing machine that, seals the meals.
I believe we're the only ones that do the
I
Meals on
think
Wheels
so,
ourselves.
yeah.
Is the Meals and Wheels program in jeopardy with the Trump cutting back
We don't know.
social services to the state?
We don't know.
We don't know yet, do we?
It's out there.
Yeah.
Uncertain.
Huh?
Uncertain at this time, I think is the best way to describe it.
Right.
Don't know.
I move that we accept the reports as presented.
Are you done?
I second it.
Okay, I guess you're
I
done.
thought she was.
I'm sorry, I just didn't want to slight her twice. All right, we've had a motion to accept the reports, and motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous vote, Bob. And meeting is adjourned. Do you have a motion for that? Anyone?
I move that we adjourn the meeting at 3:04.
Wonderful. Thank you. May I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Mary. And all those in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Another
Are you
unanimous
still
vote.
collecting?